So last week we took the lion's mane mushroom and we pork bellied it. We turned it into incredible bacon, and this week I want to show you how to upgrade this into an insane vegan steak. Now, when we turned the lion's mane into bacon, that was utilizing a few things that I recently learned from testing to make a better vegan bacon using this mushroom. Now, one of the very common lion's mane recipes is to make an incredible steak out of it. They really do come out very, very steaky. I wanted to take everything that I've learned from testing and all of the different recipes that I've done and see if we can upgrade that vegan steak. I think we can make this even meatier. So let's get going. These are dried lion's mane mushrooms, a little bit different than the fresh lion's mane mushroom that we had, but we should still end up with some pretty good steak-like mushrooms. Okay, so I already know I'm gonna be getting the comments on this right off the bat. I know this is gonna happen, so I wanna take care of it right now. The word steak, according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, means a slice of meat cut from a fleshy part of a beef carcass. You're right. But words in English sometimes have multiple meanings. The multiple meanings of the word steak can also mean a thick slice or piece of non-meat food. Let me repeat that. A thick slice or piece of non-meat food, especially when prepared or served in the manner of a beef steak. So there it is. All of your comments saying that's not steak, or just have a piece of steak. Well, guess what we're making today? We're making steak. Now, one of the very first things that I want to do is perforate the mushrooms. That's going to give them a more steak-like texture, but it's also going to help speed up the hydration process of these. Now, since these are dried, they're able to do this. A fresh mushroom might just crush. But we're going to be using our steak tenderizer. This is just a bunch of like little knives. It's pretty sharp, and we're just going to go ahead and just give this a bunch of perforations, all in the same direction. Try to perforate it all the way through, and it's okay if you flatten these a little bit. They're gonna get flattened anyways. I think when it's all said and done, these are gonna be pretty thin steaks, maybe like 1/2 inch thickness, not super thick steaks. They're gonna have a really nice taste and texture to them. They're gonna be steaky. The lion's mane mushroom always wins there. So now we just wanna set these aside. Let's make our flavor broth. So we're gonna be making the marinade in a blender because I wanna create an emulsification. I wanna have like a little bit of like oil, some like fat feeling in there, mouth feel, to make it really feel like a steak. So we're gonna start with about 2 cups of water, about 3/4 of a cup of black vinegar. Now this stuff tastes super meaty. It kind of tastes like a vinegar mixed with A1 sauce. So if you can't find black vinegar, just mix a little bit of white vinegar and A1 sauce and you'll get a pretty unique taste. 2 teaspoons mushroom powder, 1 teaspoon methyl cellulose, teaspoon cocoa powder, teaspoon beetroot powder, 2 teaspoons nutritional yeast, about a teaspoon of pomegranate molasses, about a teaspoon blackstrap molasses, that's gonna give us the irony taste, and a teaspoon of soy lecithin powder. So the methyl cellulose is gonna help these firm up when they cook. It's also gonna help this emulsification. The soy lecithin powder is going to be the real star of this emulsification. It's gonna be what really makes this mouthfeel. So all we need to do now is we're gonna put the lid on and we're gonna blend this until it's a smooth consistency. Then we're gonna slowly drizzle in about a 1/4 cup of melted coconut oil. So at this point, you should have a fairly thin, very runny, kind of has like a nice, creamy feeling to it. It should taste like steak, which this does, I mean, drastically. Really nice meaty taste. Love the color too. This is perfect. So at this point, I just have my tofu press. I love this thing. We're gonna drop our mushrooms into the tofu press. It's okay if they're not like perfect. We're just trying to get, the flattest. Kind of really get them just worked down a little bit and then cover them with our marinade. We want to make sure they're completely 100% covered. Now all I'm going to do is just toss the top on here and we're going to make sure that they're pressed in the marinade. That's going to kind of help form the shape and also suck in some of this moisture too. It's going to really kind of work these guys a lot more than what they're used to. There. So I'm just gonna throw this press on its highest setting. Let that press down, let these soak in the liquid. As they soak in the liquid, they're gonna become more pliable. The press is gonna press them down, really press them into shape. Okay, so now we're gonna throw these in the fridge. We just need to let them rest for about 2 or 3 hours. I think that's gonna be all it needs. I'm gonna give them 2 hours. We'll come back and see if we have some mushroom steaks. It's gonna be good. It's been a few hours. Let's check on these. I think they're gonna be good. Now, I'm fairly confident in the way that these came out. I think they're gonna be pretty good. Now, all I wanna do is just give them a slight kind of pat dry on the top and the bottom, not trying to push out any of this marinade that we kind of forced in there. Just trying to get just a slightly drier top. I think it's gonna give us a better sear. Now for both of these mushrooms, we're just gonna give them a really nice salt, some garlic powder. This is just all fairly normal. You know, this is the Guga Foods steak seasoning. And then some black pepper. And we are not trying to season our cutting board in this video, so make sure you kind of soak up all of that seasoning into your mushroom. Now I'm gonna do these in my cast iron pan over kind of like a medium-high heat with some olive oil and vegan butter. I want enough to be able to baste these while they're cooking. I'm also gonna press them down. I mean, you can really see the way that these are cooking and why the lion's mane mushroom is so incredibly steaky. And I think the addition of the perforation, this meaty, kind of fatty marinade is making these things cook up. Now make sure you press down really firm. That's really key to get this meat-like texture. Don't worry, you're not gonna lose all the juices. These are gonna be plenty juicy. And then here they are. Look at these steaks. I mean, it's mind-blowing. I have to get you a cross-section cut because I think that is what's gonna be super, super impressive with these things. Jeez, oh man. It's just so intense the way these look. Wow, it's mind-blowingly meat-like. The textures, it's like you can tear it. I was gonna say terrible, but I know people will get me on that one. My God, this is unbelievable. Just absolutely mind-blowing. And I'm gonna show you the inside of this steak, just so you can see the texture and how like insanely meaty this thing is. There's a certain springability when it comes to meat. That's the hardest thing to mimic, is that texture, the bounce, the chew. Plants have more of a snap or a bite. They always seem to have that snap, that pop when you bite into them. Mushrooms don't tend to have that. They have like a different type of mouthfeel to them. Sometimes it's described as like slimy, you know. Sometimes it's described as like a slippery mouthfeel, where like these mushrooms here have what steak has, where it's almost dry on the inside while remaining juicy, and the chew is chewy with that springability and no snap. This is beyond probably one of the best things I've made. This kind of thing is really cool to me because for the years that I've been doing this, I've been able to learn more and more on how to make things meatier and meatier. And recently, with doing some of these experiments, we've learned a bunch of new ways to prepare things, and this is like the accumulation of that with the recent mushroom tests. And I want to keep on doing more mushroom tests. I have some ideas, I have some thoughts. If there's something that you want me to test out, let me know in the comments below. But here it is. I mean, look at, I can't even, look at that. I'm so happy with it.